Coach, can you start by recapping the last couple games? Over the past 2 weeks, you have faced Indiana and Miami. Talk about those two games and what you've seen out of your team during that span.
Well, this has really sort of been a disappointing stretch for us. Really felt very good about where we were when we returned from our trip out on the East Coast playing VCU and New Hampshire. And I'm not sure that we played very well at New Hampshire, but we did play well at VCU, and we were doing some good things. Coming into the Indiana game, I think we had some confidence, and I think that we were feeling good about our chances. And then what I think happened was we just really didn't commit to the defensive side of the basketball. And whereas we have been pretty successful with scoring, we just could not get any stops defensively. And the game got out of hand for us in that particular game. And then coming into this next game, against Miami, we had some days off at Christmas. I didn't feel very good about our practices after Christmas. And moving forward into our trip to Miami, there was some concern that we weren't going to perform very well in the game. And that's actually what happened. And again, I feel like it's the same thing. It's from the defensive side of the basketball. So we really need to get down to the nuts and bolts of our defense and get back to committing, making a commitment to playing better defensively, giving up an awful lot of points. We're allowing our opponents to shoot the ball really well from the field, and all of that has to change in order for us to be successful.
Up next, you play at South Dakota, which will be your last non-league game. What are you trying to focus on in that game in preparation for the league season?
Well, I think our number one concern here is that we can get back on track defensively. We're traveling another away game. We have a stretch here of several away games. Need to see that we are really buckling down, ready to play, be focused, and ready to play defense. The offensive side will come. We have just got to put things together on the defensive side. So that's really what we're looking for. Defense, rebounding, those things that we can control just on effort and fundamentals of the game. And that's where we're lacking. So what we're looking for moving into the South Dakota game is trying to find some stability again from a defensive standpoint so that we can take some momentum into the conference season.
Corey Coleman was just named the Horizon League Player of the Week after notching a career-high 27 points against Miami. Can you talk about her performance over the last couple games?
Well, Corey's really found her shot again. She struggled a little bit out of the gates as the season started, but now she's really come to life, I think, offensively. Her three-point shot is falling. She's driving to the basket. She's a very versatile player. She rebounds well. I think we've really seen out of her in the last couple games what the league expected to see from her when they voted her all-conference. She's a dynamic scorer. As I said, she can score in a number of ways. She can drive it. She can cut. She can shoot the three. She can shoot the pull-up. Really looking forward to her continuing that type of play as we enter the conference season.
After the first 12 games of the season, you have 4 players averaging double-digit points: Amani Gordon, Kirsten Green, Corey Coleman, and Haley Schmidt. Is this group where you would like them to be at this point in the season?
Well, I think what we like a great deal is just the diversity of our scoring and abilities of scoring. In those 4, what we're looking for out of those 4 is just some consistency. We've had some up and down games here recently, and any one of those 4 can have a breakout game and really emerge as a major scorer for us. But what has been beneficial to us is that any one of those kids can have a great game, but for the most part, they have been consistently anywhere between 12 to 15 point scorers. And if we can have that out of 4 players, that's a real benefit for our program and for our team. And then, as well, you look at Des coming as our 5th starter, rounding out that group. She's had some very good games as well. She's shooting the ball well. She's a kid that can't be forgotten about. She's certainly not in any way putting herself in a position of role player that just does the little things. She's able to score. She's able to do a lot for us defensively as well. And we've got some kids off the bench who are capable. So what I like about this group is the diversity. What we need out of those 4 is consistency.
You just talked about the more veteran group. On the flip side, the freshman class is getting playing time in almost all of the games up to this point. How have they been adjusting to collegiate play and your style of play?
Well, I think that's always a transition. I think, we have some young kids who are really knocking on the door for, trying to vie for playing time, and I am making a commitment to getting them the experience that we need them to have. Brooke and Kayla and Olivia coming off the bench for us as freshmen, they're getting upwards of 10 minutes a game, more in some games than others. What they do with those minutes from one game to the next is a bit inconsistent, but what we're looking for is the more we can get them, the more time that we can get them, the more consistency we'll find. Consistency doesn't just happen because we're practicing every day. That's game time experience. And so each game we're trying to make sure that we get them the time that we need in order for them to be what we would consider experienced players, come mid-conference season.
Entering the weekend, you have a 5-7 record. At the beginning of the season, is this where you thought you'd be? Worse, better?
I thought, obviously, coming off these last two games, I'm feeling a little bit down about where we are right now. I thought we could be a little bit better than this. But we also know that we have a young team. We knew that we were losing a major scorer and rebounder, and we knew that we would have a bit of a search for some identity with this group. I think we've found that. So that's progressing. But I think we are capable of being a better team than this. So in answer to your question, I thought we'd have a couple more wins than we have now. Will we learn from the losses, and will we learn from the games that we let slip away, near the end of the game? I hope so. I think that what we saw last year was a really dynamic preseason and then a lackluster conference season. This year, not quite so dynamic of a pre-conference season, but hopefully learning and valuing the lessons that we've learned in the non-conference season so that we can have a much more significant conference season. And that's really, I think the focus of this group is that we want to make a bigger impact when it comes to the conference play.